Today we um, today now we are discussing about British policy of divide and rule. The United United fight put up in the revolt of 1857 by the Hindus and the Muslims terrified the British so much that they devised a special mechanism to keep the two sections divided. Last, they would have to pack up the England from permanently. As early as 1859, Lord Elphinstone, the then British governor of Bombay, advised London the divide, divided, divided impera was the old Roman maxim, and it should be ours. A few decades later, Sir John Shake observed that the extent, existence of hostile creeds among the Indian peoples was essential for our political position in India. With the rise of the nationalist movement under Congress, the British authorities began to favor the Muslims. Thus, the British authorities clearly followed a policy of divide and rule. To perpetuate their rule, they encouraged communal and separatist tendencies in Indian politics. They claimed to be they, they claimed to be the champions of the Muslim minority and went all out to win over them. For today, they side Muslims, zamindars, landlords, and the educated middle classes. They also fostered other divisions in the Indian society. They promoted provincialism by take, talking about Bengali dominion, Bengali domination. They used the caste structure to turn the non-Brahmins against Brahmins and the lower caste against with higher caste in UP and Bihar, where Hindus and Muslims had lived in peace. The British actually encouraged the movement to replace Urdu by Hindi as court language. In this uh, in this topic, the Indian Musliman 1871, Sir William Hunter stressed the paramount need for initiating a new policy of Anglo-Muslim cooperation. Lord Lytton also thought it expedient now to take them into alliance rather than continue into antagonious antagonize them. And next, another topic, Syed Ahmad Khan and Aligarh movement. The Anjuman-e-Islami was the Mohammedan Association was the first Muslim organization in Bengal. It was established in 1855 with a two-fold objectives of promoting the interests of the Muslim community and preaching loyalty to the British. In a petition to the Lieutenant Governor and the Anjuman demanded no exclusive privilege but fair field to com, compete, compete on equal terms with the Hindus. Nawab Ali Abdul Latif Khan Muhammad Literary Society 1853 and Syed Amir Ali Central National Mohammedan Association established year 1877 to 1878 were from prominent Muslim organizations in Bengal. Syed Ahmad Khan 1817-1898 was considered to be the most prominent reformist Muslim leader who successfully brought a rapprochement between the suspecting British and the battered Indian Muslims. Ahmad Khan, who was born in an aristocratic family, saw a close range in political decay of the Mughal court and the contrasting strength of the British. He closely observed how the British suppressed the revolt of 1857. He witnessed how the British distrusted the Muslims. He took up the responsibility of bridging the wide gulf of lack of trust between the British and the Muslims. Through his writings such as the Cause of Indian Revolt 1859, The Loyal Mohammedans of India 1860 and 1861, he tried to prove the Muslims were loyal to the British and that they were not primarily responsible of the revolt of 1857. He opposed two schools. He opened he opened two schools and a translation society before the opened the famous Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College at Aligarh in 1875, which later became the Aligarh Muslim University. The Aligarh College played a significant role in regenerating the Asharaf Muslim community in North India. Syed Ahmad Khan held both strong nationalist and communal views, and it is very difficult to chronologically order them, as one could find such ideas present in him at one and the same time. Delivering a speech on January 27, 1883 at Patna, he emphasized that in all matters of everyday life, the Hindus and Muslims really belonged to one nation. I have always said that our land of India is like a newly wedded, wedded bride whose two beautiful and luscious, luscious eyes are the Hindus and the Muslims. If the two exist in mutual concern, the bride will remain forever resplendent. If they make their mind to see in different directions, the bride is bound to become quinted and even partially blind. And advised Muslims against joining the Indian National Congress because he felt that the Congress, even under the leadership of the moderate, was too politically aggressive. In 1886, 1 year after the birth of the Congress, he organized the Mohammedan, Mohammedan Educational Conference with the objective of keeping the community's attention educational and social and economic progress and also from the activities of the Congress. And Principal Theodore Beck of Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College convinced Syed that while the Anglo-Muslim alliance would ameliorate, ameliorate and condition of the Muslim community, the nationalist alignment lead them once again to sweat. Tail and tears back impressed upon him the need of cooperation with the British in the interest of the own community. Sir Syed Ahmad, the apostle of Muslim nationalism, declared in a speech in 1883 that the Hindus and Muslims were two warring nations who could not lead a common political life. And also, he warned his co-religionists that representative legislature of the British type would result in the domination of the Hindus and the Muslims would never be in power. In his words, the system of representation by election means the representation of the views of the majority. I am convinced that the introduction of the principle of election would be attended with evil. The large community and means majority would totally override the interests of the smaller means minority community. He said, and he also said that a democratic reign means majority rule, and majority rule in India would mean Hindus rule. Hence, he advocated, advocated Anglo-Muslim alliance and became an arch enemy, arch enemy of the Congress. And another, he said, he became a full full-fledged loyalist, and in 1888 he founded the United Indian Patriotic Association in league with Raja Shivaprasad of Benares to act as a rival of the Congress. It was a reactionary body which began to oppose the progressive view of the Congress and pledged loyalty to the British. After that, an important point, causes for the growth of the communalism. One of the important causes for the growth of communal and separatist trend of thinking among the Muslims was their educational backwardness. On the other hand, the Hindus who received Western education sold a clear mark over the Muslims and occupied many important posts in the administration. Later, as a result of the effort of Syed Ahmad Khan and other modern education gradually began to find a place, especially among the Muslims of the North India. Educated Muslims could not find many opportunities to in trade and business, and hence they inevitably looked for government jobs. The Muslim leaders exhorted the educated Muslims to remain loyal to the British so that the government would reward them with government jobs and other favors. There are two reasons or causes for the growth of the communalism. These are misinterpretation of history, and second one, growth of militant nationalism. Distorted Distorted understanding of the Indian history created consolidated and accelerated communal ideology in modern India. It was from this understanding that communal individuals, organizations, and politics drew their strength. An eminent historian, Bipin Chandra, says that in fact it would be no exaggeration to suggest that the communal interpretation of history has been the main ideology of communalism in India. Without it, little would be left of communal ideology. This was particularly true about Hindu communalism. The British imperialist historians like James Mill divided divided Indian history into Hindus and Muslim periods on the basis of the religious of the rule. They treated ancient rulers. Once again, the British imperialist historians like James Mill divided Indian history into Hindu and Muslim periods on the basis of the religions of the rulers. They treated ancient period as Hindu period and the medieval period as Muslim period. A strong impression had been fraudulently created that during the medieval period, all rulers were Muslims and all Hindus were the ruled. Further, it was understood that all Muslims were rulers and all Hindus were subjugated to the ruthless Muslim rule. The misinterpretation and the consequent misunderstanding about the medieval Indian history has contributed enormously to the rise of the communal ideology. The medieval Indian history was understood as a continuous story of Hindu-Muslim conflict. During the period, Muslim rule was described as foreign rule, which brought down degeneration of Hindus in every aspect. The, the imperialists like H.M. Eliot and John Eliot, H.M. Eliot and John Dawson presented an exaggerated picture of the temples desecrated. Women suppose, supposedly molested and several other human humiliations. Humiliations picture of the humiliations picture humiliations the Hindus suffered. Muslim rulers were described as foreigners simply because they were born Muslim, despite the fact that several of them were born in Indian. In communal interpretation, all those who fought against the foreigner Muslims became national heroes and freedom fighters. Thus, Rana Pratap and Shivaji were extolled as national heroes, although they fought for their territories as any king would do. Much emphasis was laid on ancient Indian culture, and medieval Indian culture was almost excluded. Such trends in the presentation of Indian history encouraged communalism in modern India. The communists stressed upon the difference between the Hindus and the Muslims and conveniently forgot the shade aspects of their lives. What was tragic was that distorted, distort, distort, distorted understanding of Indian history gripped the imagination of even strong nationalists, and communal ideology had a free run. And another important part, growth of militant nationalism. The growth of militant nationalism was another important factor which contributed to Muslim alienation. The emphasis of extremist nationalist leaders Lal Bal Pal and Arvind Ghosh on Hindu mythology and traditions roused apprehensions among the Muslims. The British tacticians injected a fear among the Muslims by telling them that they would be worse off under the domination of the Hindus. So a large number of educated Muslims became indifferent towards the nationalist movement and developed separate trends. The partition of Bengal in 1905 was another important step towards driving a wedge between the two communities. The division of Bengal on communal line was described, the, described by the national Indian nationalists as advised together together the support of the backward Muslim community against the political advanced Hindus. The next topic is similar reputation to Lord Minto. Under the Act of 1885, consisting the law Indian Legislative Council, there had been no specific Muslim representation, and Muslims, for all practical purpose, had failed, failed to win any seat. These circumstances had prompted Sir Syed's speech in 1883 on the necessity of separate electorate for Muslims. In 1906, Governor General Lord Minto had formed a committee to consider the necessity of further political reforms for India. The followers of Syed Ahmad Khan, especially Muhsin ul Mulk, organized the deputation of prominent Muslims, totally 35, under the leadership of Aga Khan, who met the Viceroy Lord Minto at Simla on 1st October 1906. Grant of separate electorates and weightage representation. The Viceroy was wholly sympathetic to the demand made by the deputation. He assured the deputation deputation that their political interests would be fully safeguarded. Lord Minto said, "You justly claim that your numerical strength, both in respect to the political importance of your community and the service has rendered to the Europe Empire, en- entitle you to consideration." I am entirely in accord with you. I can only say to you that the Mohammedan community may rest assured that their political rights and interests as a community will be safeguarded in any administrative reorganization with which I am concerned. Accordingly, through the Minto Marley reforms of 1909, separate electorates were granted to the Muslims. The granting of separate electorates, both in principles and practice, firmly laid the foundation of Muslim separatism. The Muslims began to see the British as their protectors, and the British gained the loyalty of the Muslim elites. Thus, the British successfully utilized the fear psychosis present among the elite Muslims and could play on their communal sentiments. Hereafter, for a except for a brief period during the Khilafat agitation, the leaders of the Muslim League and the Congress nationalists would hardly meet as the gulf began to widen more and more. Birth of All Indian Muslim League. Another point is birth of All Indian Muslim League. The Muslim League, the first political organization of the Muslims, was established on 30 December 1906 at Dhaka. Dhaka, now present in Bangladesh. His Highness the Aga Khan, although not actually present in Dhaka, was chosen as the League's permanent president. Some of the personal, prominent personalities who inaugurated the league included Weaver, Weaver Gulmal, Khwaja Sir Salimullah, the Nawab of Dhaka, at whose place the meeting was held, and Mohsin ul Mulk. The leadership of the league mainly composed of the top stratum of the Muslim community and its professional classes. It was dominated by the vested interests of the Nawabs, Jamindars, and old nobility. What is significant to note is that while Maulana Azad was